Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. So today we got some news on the Watchmen television series that is going to be going to HBO, and they confirmed that it's going to be premiering this fall. Now I saw some early stuff for this. They had just some screenshots and some basic stuff. But I don't really have too much faith in this project, even though I think HBO is very capable uh, as a studio. But this a teaser dropped today, about a minute and 20-second teaser, um, and it has thoroughly dashed any hopes I had of this being anything more than the most recent foray into Trump derangement syndrome. They have thoroughly ruined Watchmen in this adaptation, and it betrays a lot of things from what this teaser shows. And again, teasers can be misleading, but I don't know why you would ever want to lead people in this direction because it's just going to make people not want to watch this. A lot of people not want to watch this. Um, and before I just go into the breakdown, I just want to say this. Say what you want about Zack Snyder as a director. I've had issues with some of his stuff over the years, but he did Watchmen right. He did it very right, and he was very true to the comic book, and it it works. Watchmen, the film from Zack Snyder from 2009, it works. It works very well, especially the characters that really needed to work: the comedian Rorschach and Ozymandias. All of those characters needed to work to make a good Watchmen adaptation from the comic, and all three of those characters in that film work, and they work very well, and they are so true to their comic book counterparts. It's so great. And even though the supporting characters, some of them aren't as outstanding as those three, I still like Billy Crudup as Dr. Manhattan. I can't remember the actor who plays Dan Drayberg slash Night Owl or Silk Spectre, but again, they both did relatively good jobs and were relatively true to the comic book. This is taking aspects of the comic book and turning them into social commentary or an allegory for things that are happening to us socially today, or what these people believe are happening. Um, Now, the trailer starts out where you see a bunch of people in Rorschach masks, but they're not like the cool ink blot changing Rorschach mask. They're just these spray painted masks that are made to look like various Rorschachs, just the still ink blot photos, and they have eye holes cut in them. And then they keep saying tick tock, and throughout the trailer, this continues. It gets louder and louder and louder, which it's a trope, a little bit of a trope with trailers. There's been more than one trailer that's done that before, but going past that, they do this, and then it zooms out, and basically you see that there's a bunch of people with these masks on, and there appear to be what's in a dilapidated church. There's a thing on the back wall that says, it says about God and "No, we believe" and all that. Um, but then you go into this monologue that's narrated by Don Johnson, and I don't remember exactly who he plays in this. They show him in a police uniform at one point, but then he's saying "tick-tock" at another point in the trailer, like the Rorschach people. So I don't know exactly what's going on there, but he starts off by saying some stuff about how they've been gone for. We thought we destroyed them, but they're actually they were just sleeping, and then they go through these scenes of that shows the guys in the Rorschach mask coming out, and they said, oh, they went after cops, and they went after this, and they went after this. And then you kind of see a bit of a flurry of stuff, some stuff related to the various characters. Again, the only one that I know of is Ozymandias as Jeremy Irons playing him. That's really the only notable one. There's another one who has like a reflective mirror type of mask on that covers his entire face. There's what I assume to be Silk Spectre, which is she's dressed in all black and she has like a hood on and like a scarf over her face. All the cops have like these yellow scarves or masks on, which is really weird, which I saw in some of the other promotional material that they had. Um, but throughout the trailer, you kind of see per, they're drawing portrayals to things to continue with the culture war. This is their wet dream for a culture war. This is literally what they have turned Watchmen into. They've turned it into an NPC, a social justice warrior cause where they want to portray, because basically they're portraying these Rorschach characters as almost an allegory to the Rorschach mask is almost an allegory to a KKK hood. And you see them, they're in this little gathering, they're all kind of in civilian clothes except for the masks, and like we do the you don't know who we are but we are everywhere. It's kind of like an anonymous type of thing with the Guy Fawkes masks, but instead of that it's Rorschach. And again, they try to give it an allegory to like the KKK, and they show them, oh, we're gonna they start hunting down and killing cops and all this other stuff. And then they have this little flash in the middle with these two black people who are a couple, presumably, who are hugging each other and say, "Do we know we're safe?" And then they go into this really, really bad, just. My brain is having problems processing this, and I've watched it 3 times, um, because they're trying to portray, they're trying to take the idea of Rorschach and make him the far right, make him which in a way he's the far end of the spectrum in terms of his character, but that's him personally. They're turning Rorschach into a mob or a group of people that for whatever reason are choosing to rebel and revolt. However, it seems that they're mainly white individuals, uh, somewhat middle class, not regular bodied people. There's a plethora of different bodies, and they're all male, from what we can see in the trailer. So you have this group of white, middle-aged males who apparently are tired of certain things and are running around killing people with firearms. Gee, what target do you think they're aiming for? Um, Again, it's an allegory. It's all an allegory, and they're trying to focus on the culture war. So then they do the opposite of they portray, they're killing cops and all this other stuff. Then you have the opposite side who are represented by various minorities who they kind of try to say, oh, the police are keeping the minorities safe from the evil white middle-aged people that want to kill everyone. Um, yeah. You ever think that maybe you could come down a little less hard with the whole, you know, relating to culture? Because obviously there's another, they're bringing in the gun argument now too. With that, this trailer said so much about this show in a way that is not becoming, in a way that is not good. Um, and it's horrible to see Watchmen twisted like this because again we've had a very close adaptation with Zack Snyder's film, and it's probably the closest we're ever going to get to a perfect uh, page to film story of Watchmen. And actually, the extended or the director's cut of it is even more so. Because they include stuff like the death of Hollis Mason and some other stuff in it as well. But you have now perverted that initial idea and you have brought it to a point where now you're just using it as social commentary, and it's disgusting. It is disgusting to see Watchmen treated that way. It is disgusting to see it put into those lenses, because now you are trying to use it as ammunition. You're trying to use something that came out in 1986 that has nothing to do with today's politics, absolutely nothing, and you're trying to pervert it to fit your little narrative. That is stupid. It is stupid, and I hope this show fails. I 100% hope it fails. I hope it gets no. I hope nobody watches it. I hope nobody gives a shit. And if HBO wants to push it, then nobody's gonna care. Because you want to know something, I don't know how long these episodes are. Usually, it's like an hour or something with HBO. If they have a 10 hour, if they have a 10 episode season for, so you have 10 hours, I'd rather watch Zack Snyder's Watchmen 4 times in 10 hours, or however many times I could watch it in 10 hours, than watch any of those episodes at this point. Because you have now completely turned me off, and you've turned a lot of people off from this, especially people that were fans of the comic. Um, and again, this goes back to the idea of demographics. If you're not going to make it for the people that enjoy the comic, and you're going to make it for people that don't give a shit about comics and just want to watch social commentary, then all you're doing is you're taking that idea and you're presenting it to a smaller audience than what you would get if you just did a decent adaptation. Now, when this was originally announced, I actually thought they were going to do a prequel, because they had prequel comics they came out with a few years ago called I think it was called Before Watchmen, that DC put out, and they actually apparently weren't that. I never read them, but apparently from people that I've talked to, they said they were actually pretty good. Um, and of course, now Watchmen's making a bit of a resurgence where they're lumping it in with the main DC comic universe. But, you know, I thought maybe they'd go and they'd explore the stuff with the Minutemen, the early superhero people, and then, you could go more in depth as you progress through the years, because the scope of Watchmen ranges from the 1930s all the way up to 1986. It's not a small time frame. So there's a lot of information you could fit in there before you get up to the events of the film, because the events of the film really only take place over, I think, a couple of weeks in 1986. They don't maybe not even, maybe only like a week in 1986. They don't take the main events, aside from flashbacks and stuff, really just take place in that one time frame, and then we see everything else through flashbacks. But I thought that was what they were going to go with, because that seems interesting. You look at the start, you look at like all those guys who were starting out, or maybe you fast forward a little bit to like the 60s, when you had guys like Rorschach who were coming in near the late 60s, and Night Owl and the Second Silk Spectre, and all them, or maybe the comedian doing a bunch of stuff, him and Dr. Manhattan in Vietnam. There's a whole bunch of stuff you could have done, but instead, no, you decide to turn Watchmen into a social commentary, and it is complete bullshit. I will not watch this. I urge you not to watch it unless you're into social commentary for whatever reason, bad social commentary from what it probably will be. But you know, I shouldn't say I encourage you not to watch it. If you want to watch it, go ahead and watch it. But for me, it's the experience is destroyed now because of this, and it's a shame, because there was so much potential with this for HBO to dive into it and to make something that was worthwhile, and they have now squandered that. So, you know. That's really all I have to say. I'll link the teaser in the description of the video. But remember, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Um, Again, if you like it, if you don't like it, if you're going to plan on watching it, if you don't plan on watching it, regardless of the teaser. Um, Leave a like on the video, hit the bell for notifications, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?